All right, guys, so here we are at the running segment of the course. This is really important because if you think about a mud run, a Spartan race, 95% of it is going to be running, right? So we have to be efficient runners. What we're going to do first is we're going to break down the difference between the heel strike and the mid-foot strike. Now, I'm a huge fan of the mid-foot strike and allowing your center of gravity to move forward and for gravity to carry you forward versus heel striking. Now, we become a very quad dominant kind of society, right, where we're sitting in a 90 degree hip flex position all day long. So our psoas gets tight, our glutes shut off, our lumbar spine starts to go, and we end up putting ourselves into these very compromised positions when we run. So what we're going to do is clarify the difference between the midfoot strike leaning versus the heel strike.
Midfoot strike versus heel strike.
Alright guys, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with the heel strike, and we're going to break it down and we're going to analyze it, and I'm going to show you exactly why it is considered to be inefficient relative to a midfoot strike. So let's go ahead and get started. You're going to see me enter the frame here in just a moment. Now you're going to notice the very first thing that lands, obviously, being a heel strike, is going to be that heel, okay? So let's take a look. First off, I've got the heel striking into the ground, right? Which all 155 pounds of me right now is multiplied 3 to 4 times in impact. Okay, so that means 3 to 4 times 155 pounds of force is driving up through my heel, into my knee, into my hip, into my lumbar spine. Not to mention I'm overextended through the spine here. But also, guys, if we look at this hip, see this open hip, this left leg here, that psoas is lengthened right now, right? That hip flexor muscle that we talked about earlier is lengthened, which means in order to get this back foot forward, I now have to contract through that psoas, pulling this leg that entire distance all the way forward. Okay, so another thing you're going to notice is look at the front foot here that's about to land. See how that toe is really pulled up? Well, now I'm having to dorsal flex to that ankle, meaning I'm pulling the toe upward, which means in order to get my ankle to this position, I have to dorsal flex, which means that this anterior tibialis, right, where we get all the shin splints, it's all that contraction happening over and over again. You wonder where those shin splits come from. Well, it's because you're contracting and contracting and contracting over and over and over again. And not to mention, if we look at the back leg, you're going to notice that I'm kind of flicking through the back toe, and there's a little bit of contraction in that calf, right? So that means that I'm plantar flexing, meaning I'm contracting through that calf over and over and over again in combination with this dorsal flexion over and over and over again. So you can see how I'm having to use these small muscles to propel myself forward, the dorsal flexors, the plantar flexors. I'm having to use my iliopsoas, which supports the lumbar spine, to drive my body forward. Not to mention, guys, let's take a look at my upper body, right? My torso here is very upright, which means that I'm not leaning in any way to help aid myself moving forward. I should be allowing my body to fall forward through space so I can effortlessly move, okay? So let's just analyze that one more time. Boom, slamming into the ground, heel into the ground, psoas is moving here, right? Driving through my toes, right? Over contracting through my calves and through my anterior part of my shin there. So obviously you could see how this could lead to inefficiency in your gait cycle. Let's go ahead and move on to the midfoot strike.
Midfoot strike.
Alright guys, so we just went over the heel strike. Now we're going to go over the midfoot strike and why I prefer the midfoot strike and why I think there's more efficiency and safety kind of built into it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start it. Here comes the shadow. And first thing you're going to notice, boom, okay? First thing you're going to notice relative to the heel strike is right now, I'm still airborne right here in this image. By the time my kind of center of mass lands over my foot, I will be midfoot striking. Watch. Boom, midfoot right here, okay? So notice when a lot of people misinterpret midfoot strike as landing on the ball of the foot. No, what we're looking for is just right around the middle of the foot, okay? It's kind of hard to detect. Some might even look at this and think, hey Ryan, your heel's striking the ground, but really I'm right at midfoot and it's allowing for that plyometric response to take place to spring me forward. The other thing I want you to notice here is look at my torso, look at my center of gravity moving forward. I'm almost falling at the ankle joint. That is, in fact, not almost, I I literally am falling at the ankle joint, which is allowing my body to fall freely through space, right? And then here's the most important part. Well, one of the most important parts. First, I'm leaning, but now notice what's propelling me forward. Boom! Hamstrings, glutes, the muscles that are designed to extend and propel you forward, right? So this hamstring flexes the knee. That's what it does, right? So when my foot hits the ground, it flexes, driving me forward in conjunction with my lean, which gives me this optimal propelling force, right? I just start moving forward, and it's almost effortless because I'm leaning into it. Also, the glute is extending. And notice that in that heel strike, that my gait, like right around this point where we are right now, my back leg was all the way back here, right? Which again, we were lengthening that psoas, having to contract that psoas. But notice when I'm midfoot striking, it is all about lean and flexion through the hamstring and extension through the glutes. Also notice that my torso is upright, but I'm not overextended through my spine. I'm just leaning at that ankle and I'm allowing my body to move freely through space. All right, guys, so now that we understand the significance between these two, we're going to go ahead and start going over some drills and things that you can start implementing right away, so that way you can move from the heel strike to the midfoot strike. Here we go.